All right, good morning, everyone. We are going to kick off media availabilities here today at Kansas Speedway with Chase Briscoe, driver of the number 14 Stewart Haas Racing Ford. We will get right to questions, so if you have a question, please raise your hand. We will start up here with Cameron.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Chase, in 2022 in the playoff race here, you were 13th, and that was, on the path to you making the round of 8. So do you guys feel like that's a good benchmark to set yourself up for this round, or do you feel like you need to have a Darlington Bristol-esque performance this weekend?
Yeah, I mean the Darlington Bristol style performance would definitely be a big help for sure. But we were talking about it earlier this week and feel like we definitely need to try to maximize this race just with Talladega, right, and the Roval kind of being unpredictable. But I do think if we could come out of here 12th, 13th, get some stage points, it should put you at least in the hunt, right? Like you're not going to start at a huge deficit like we did at Atlanta. So yeah, it's for sure a focus. This has probably not been our best racetrack. So we got some work to do, but I am confident that we're going to be probably the best we've been here in a long time. Just, I feel like we've made a lot of gains on our mile-and-a-half stuff. So hopefully we can come out of here and, qualify good starting today. And then, that just makes your life so much easier tomorrow, getting stage points and things like that. So yeah, definitely need to, start this round off right. Kind of the opposite of what we did last round.
All right, we'll go to Daniel next.
Daniel McFadden, FrenchRoach.com. You kind of just addressed it with your answer just now, but it's been since May since you guys actually raced on a true mile-and-a-half track, but now you got 3 in the playoffs. So given how much time has passed, and you said you just made some gains, just how good do you feel about what you guys could do at those tracks with your program?
Yeah, it is crazy to think the last time we ran one of these was in May, right? But I think for us, honestly, probably the closest comparison to a mile-and-a-half would be Darlington, right? Like Aero does make a little bit of an issue there, and this track does have a little bit of tire fall off, like a place like Darlington does. Obviously, not near as extreme, and the speeds are way slower. But as far as like a mile-and-a-half style race, out of everything we've done recently, that's the closest comparison. And I thought from where we were in April or whenever it was we raced Darlington the first time to where we are, last time we went there was quite a bit different. So I think if we can just make our program kind of make that same jump, then it should be way better. Last time we came here, we were able to qualify in the final round and do things like that. So I'm confident that we should be able to be in the mix, but it's still obviously going to take execution and just a full, complete weekend. That's the difference in the playoffs. It doesn't take just a full, complete day. It really takes the whole weekend, and, it starts in practice and obviously qualifying, and that's something that we've been really good at these last couple weeks.
Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and catchfence.com. How rewarding is it to you and the 14 team knowing that people didn't expect you to make it to this round?
Yeah, it's nice. I think internally we all knew what we were capable of. Especially once we got into the playoffs and just the momentum and the confidence that brought. But yeah, it's honestly been kind of similar to 2022 in that sense, where everybody knew that, or everybody said that we were going to be out, the first round, and we kind of knew that we were way better of a team than that. So from that standpoint, it's been fun to kind of bust everybody's brackets again, and hopefully we can do, like the last time and make a really deep playoff run. I feel like we're way stronger now than we've ever been as a team. Even, when we did that in 2022, we just had like some really good weeks. We still weren't really that fast, like Texas and Vegas, like we were running 30th a lot of that race and just kind of salvaged the top 5. Where right now I feel like we're in a totally different space. Like we're running up front. We're one of the faster cars. So I feel really good about it, and hopefully we can just keep proving people wrong.
And how demoralizing would it be to kind of watch things disappear? Something crazy happens next week at Talladega, because sometimes it's completely out of your hands, out of your control, kind of like what you experienced at Atlanta. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely have experience with that, just, from Atlanta and, even the truck series. The reason I didn't make the Final Four was Talladega. So it's tough, just because it is out of your control to a certain extent, but also it's the same for the other 11 guys I'm racing. They all have to go to Talladega too. So it's, that's the cards that you're dealt, and you just got to figure out what the best hand is, and hopefully we can go there and have a good day. But regardless of what the finish is, it's going to be what it is, right? Like you can't change it. So you just got to move on from it, and hopefully we can leave Talladega in a really good spot going into the Roval, because I definitely feel like the Roval is our strongest track out of the 3 in this round. Thanks.
Good.
Steven Stump, Fronters.com. Chase with no 1.5 mile tracks since May. That was all, Ford wasn't good at them, early in the season, but that was also before Ford went on his really huge super run with winning a bunch of races. So when you guys look at the results of those races, are those ones you can kind of just throw out the window knowing that it's not going to be the same as, what's going to happen this week?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think you can look at the manufacturer performance and say just because you were bad in May or whatever that you're going to be bad now. I think if you're good, it's a little bit easier to say like, hey, we were like Toyota, for example, right? They've always been super, super fast every time they come here, and I'm sure it'll be the same. But for us, I feel like as not even an OEM, but even just as a team, like where the Fords have came from where they were in May is totally different. And even as a race team, I feel like we're totally different teams. So, yeah, I don't think you can really read into the results of what we did in April, May, just because stuff changes so much. I mean, even a month and a half ago, guys that were running good aren't running now, and vice versa. So this the sport is constantly evolving, constantly changing, and yeah, I definitely don't think you can read a whole lot into just because you were bad in May, you're going to be bad now. Yeah, thanks.
Chase, Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. The dynamic within Stewart-Haas Racing, there was a pit crew change this weekend. 3 teams still running for wins, running for their own respective situations, but you're in the playoffs. Have you noticed a change, or what is that dynamic like with you being apparently on the receiving end of lots of insight? I know Noah's team and yours have been kind of separated. What's that like from your perspective?
Yeah, it's been humbling, just from the whole company kind of, all embracing the 14 car and doing everything they can to make the 14 car have the best potential to win the championship. So it's been cool, right? Like just to have 300 something employees, like literally feel like they're on your back and riding with you every single weekend. And then just as a company, like SHR from the day I've been there has never worked as well as they have right now. Like all 4 crew chiefs, all 4 drivers. Like I think, you even saw it last week. Like Noah was genuinely excited for me to make it on to the next round of the playoffs. And, the 10 car's been going to the racetrack identical does every week for the last 3 weeks. And even this week now the 4 car as well. So I do think that's a little unique, where since I am the only car in, and even just our situation with the whole team shutting down, like all the resources, all the effort, all the focus, everything they got is on us right now, right? So that's different. No other team can say that. Penske still has 3 cars. They're all 3 trying to make the next round, where for us, especially at a place like Talladega next week, I do think it'll make a difference just because I'm going to have 3 teammates that are super committed to doing everything they can to help me.
We're going to go to Reed and then Dustin.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire. You mentioned the Roval where you won the first Xfinity race there. Have you studied the changes to the track, and what effect do you think they might have?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to race way better. It's going to create more passing zones. It's going to create more chaos too, which I think is always exciting from a fan's standpoint. But I do think it's going to race really, really good. That whole section that they added the corner to, that was kind of a non-passing zone, really, all the way once you got into the infield until you got back on that back straightaway. There was really no opportunity to pass anybody, where now it's going to create a huge break zone. I think it's going to struggle to get the car back going, so it's going to make even a passing zone on corner exit. And then the front stretch chicane is going to be way tighter, so it's going to be heavier braking, which should create more passing opportunities as well. The restarts are going to be probably tougher just with how much more narrow it is now. So I'm excited for the change. I think it was something that will definitely make the racing better. I've been able to go over there, through our relationship with Ford Performance Racing School and go see it, and it's definitely different. Like it's way different than what we've had. Even that whole new corner, I haven't got to drive on that part of it, but just the elevation is a lot, and it's completely blind. Like inside the race car, I think you're probably honestly catch some air over that. And it's going to be a challenge for the race car drivers, so I'm excited.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What do you need out of this new pit crew, and what were you not getting?
Yeah, the pit crew thing's tough because, the guys that I've had have been on it for the last year and a half. Really, well, they got changed whenever Harvick was in the playoffs, so I'm back kind of with my original guys. But, yeah, it's tough. They've been able to be there and get us to this point, right? And that's a decision that truthfully is made above me. I didn't even know it was happening until they called me on Monday. And The big thing I think for me is I just told those guys is I texted them all. I said, look, you guys are just as much as the 14 team as you were last week. Like, I know it probably doesn't feel that way right now, but obviously, Zippy and just everybody at SHR felt like that's what gave us the best opportunity to try to, move on and try to advance to the next round. And last week was, a struggle, right? Like, we had a couple bad pit stops, but there's tons of races that I have bad mistakes too. And, it's just a tough situation, right? All the way around. You don't want guys to, be on the 14 and then get kicked off. But, that's the decision that obviously was made. And, got to just try to move on from it. I told Josh on the way over here today, I said, your pit crew is going to be on it this weekend. They got a lot to prove. So I think it'll be good, but definitely hate it for those guys just because they were like family to me, right? So it's just a tough situation all the way around.
And obviously, changes like that are not unprecedented, as you noted in the playoffs. But when they happen, it can create kind of a sense from the outside of a chaos with the team as they're scrambling to try to find things. How do you? I don't know if you look at it that way, or how do you either address it to the people on the outside, or how you address it to those in the inside? Is like, look, even though this is a different makeup, the goal's still the same.
Yeah, I don't think that I definitely don't feel like it's chaos at all, like being internally in it. I do get where the outside perception of it sometimes is chaos, but I think from the inside, the guys that got taken off are obviously frustrated, right? Like, I get it, but I think at the end of the day, they still want to see us win this championship because they are a part of this team. And I think that's the unique thing about just our company right now is the just total buy-in from top to bottom of everybody kind of having this one goal of us going out as champions. And like, the whole thing is super unfortunate, right? But the 4-car has probably been the most consistent pit crew on pit road. And consistency is kind of what it takes right now. So I guess that's the decision behind it. Just got to, go into this weekend. But from an internal standpoint, it doesn't feel like chaos at all. Yep, thanks.
Brad Williams, SpeedwayDigest.com. In 2016, won the ARCA Championship. And yesterday, they announced their season for 2025 yesterday, and also the season opening event on Fox, Big Fox. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's super cool for ARCA. That's a series that means a lot to me. Without that series, I'm not sitting up here. Like, that was the only reason I ever even got put on anybody's map and one of the top 3 series. So for them to be able to, race on Big Fox is really cool. I think that Daytona ARCA race always has a ton of viewers, right? That's kind of the kickoff to, stock car racing in the U.S. So for that to be on Big Fox is really, really cool. It's a great opportunity for a lot of young up-and-coming drivers and even, teams that just don't get that normal spotlight to have the spotlight and try to, sell different sponsors and different things and just the opportunities that it comes with being on Big Fox. So excited for everybody, obviously on the ARCA side. There's a lot of just really great stories in that garage, and hopefully, a couple of those will get highlighted.
Do we have any additional questions for Chase?
Sorry if I missed it, but how's baby watch, and is there a contingency plan? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here. We were at the hospital last night, but everything was good. A couple contractions, and they sent us home. So, it's the most helpless feeling, truthfully, in the world. Like, even this morning, I left the house at 6 a.m. to get on the plane, and she was, like, having contractions here and there, and just knowing that, like, I got to come, right? Like, I can't stay. I have to go to the racetrack. It's tough, but yeah, once I landed, that was like the first thing I was worried about, right? The whole plane ride. And she said that she hasn't had one since. So hopefully, I just told her to literally lay down, don't do anything until Monday. And then Monday, you can get on your yoga ball, bounce all around. We can walk miles, whatever you want to do. But so far, so good. The doctor seemed to think that they weren't going to make it till October 8th, but we could see. If I get a call, I told her the earliest I'll probably be home is 7 o'clock. By the time I would, get on a plane, coach has been super awesome about telling me I can use this plane if something happens. So, I got to practice, I got to qualify, and I got to race. So, I'm here. We're in the playoffs. Obviously, if I wasn't in the playoffs, I would be home if something happened. But yeah, the contingency plan is I'm here to race for a championship. Marissa understands that. It obviously would get tricky if it comes at certain times, but I even told Richard if it happens during the race, don't tell me. Just tell me as soon as we take the checker flag, hey, look, Marissa went into labor, so I can get out of the car and just go as fast as I can.
How long were you at the hospital? Do you think last night was going to happen?
I don't know. It was weird last night. So she finally had some contractions, and with Brooks, she never really had any contractions. We just kind of went there, and then they ended up doing a C-section. So she wasn't really sure what it felt like anyways. And then we were supposed to have a doctor's appointment yesterday, and it got canceled because there was no power. So then they were like, well, we need you to come in if you're having these symptoms. So then we went, and we were only there for 2 or 3 hours, and they sent us home, and we went to cookout and went home. Yeah. Yeah, so Coach has been amazing. The last 4 or 5 weeks, he's called me every single week, and we've set up a plan just whether it's the plane being here, or, Bristol helicopter or whatever it was, just anything he can do to help. And even he's called and texted Marissa telling her that, he's praying for her. So it's just been a really amazing thing that, Coach is willing to, do that for me so I can be there. So hopefully I don't have to use it. But even last week, SHR, we didn't have a plane at Bristol. Everybody drove. So I actually flew on the Gibbs team plane, which was a little awkward after knocking some of their cars out. But Coach has been awesome in the whole process.
Any final questions? All right. Thanks for the time and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.